Hey everybody, this is Tanya Taylor. I wrote the book on how to make money. And if you haven't got the book, make sure you get the book. But now I've transitioned this past year, last year I transitioned out of everything I was doing and I focused on wholesaling houses, made a boatload of money, did six figures, hoo-hoo. So that was pretty exciting. But this year, I'm teaching people how I did it. So if you're interested in my coaching program, just shoot me an email. My email address is boss, BOSSLADY, N as in Nancy, O as in Oliver @gmail.com. And just put in the subject line, I'm interested in your coaching program. And this is for people who maybe you're already in wholesaling, you're kind of unsure, you don't know what to do, you need somebody to hold your hand, you need a coach. I'm that person. So what I want to talk today is about for people who are already or getting ready to get into wholesaling. I can't stress this enough. This business is about relationships. Nobody makes six figures less than 12 months without building relationships, just doing it on your own. And that's where a lot of people go wrong that I see when I ask people who are they working with. They're not working with anybody. They don't have a mentor. They don't have a partner. I was blessed to know one thing in all the businesses that I've been in. I started networking immediately. So this is pre-COVID. I was going to real estate networking events and I was networking and I was building relationships. And another thing, every time I'd close a deal, I'd tell the person, I would like to break bread with you. Even my very first buyer, I said, hey, after we do this deal, let's just sit down and have lunch. He ended up treating. Even the guy I JV'd with, he was in a whole nother state. I said, once we close this big deal, I want us to meet at Ruth Chris and break bread. So I started establishing relationships, and here's a lot of people don't do that. They miss that. They'll just do the deal. The buyer really doesn't know them. But let me tell you, when you go to the point that you're building relationships, even after that first deal, my buyer just now last week reached out to me and said, hey, I have a house under contract. I'm wholesaling a house. I don't want to buy it, but I know you have buyers. Here you go. And I started getting phone calls from people that this was over a year ago. I did virtual wholesaling in Indianapolis. And that gentleman picked up the phone. He was being very unreasonable. He was a seller. We had it under contract. I had a buyer, but it was a day or two and I needed extra time. He wouldn't give it to me. He was being unreasonable. And I was like, we could get the deal done. He said, fine, I'll give you more time, but I'm going to raise the price. My buyer wasn't going for it. It fell apart. But I still maintained a relationship with that person, the seller, the unreasonable seller. I still maintained relationship with him. Hey, Brian, just checking in with you, seeing how you're doing. And, he was always one of those people where if I could have put that, there was lots of times when I was going through that process where I wanted to put, how do I clean this up? I wanted to put Brian the jerk in the contacts on my phone, but I maintained being a nice person, being very professional, and reaching out. Hey, Brian, I know that went south. If there's anything I could do in the future, let me know. And last week he hit me up. Hey, Tanya, you have any? I know that deal didn't work out. And he knew that he was being a jerk, but I could not believe what I was reading. I enjoyed how professional, your level of professionalism that you maintain throughout the process. And if you have anything, make sure you reach out to me. And again, this was somebody who I knew and he knew that he was just being a total jerk, unreasonable. But I stayed professional and I stayed, even though I'm in Maryland, he was in Indianapolis, I still maintained that contact. And I always tell people this is about building relationships. So don't look at your buyers, look at them as human beings. When I'm dealing business locally, my buyers, I'm like, hey, we at least, after we close the deal, let's meet for coffee. I want to get to know you. I will send them a Facebook friend request. This is how I snagged my very first buyer. I went to a real estate investment meeting. The guy who was hosting the meeting, I just went up to him, hey, may I have your phone number? And I kept in contact with him. And I built up a relationship. And even on my very first sale, he said, well, he gets spammed a lot of times because people know that he's really big in that city and he buys a lot. He said, you're the person that I knew, and that holds a lot of volume. And so I always tell people, build relationships with other JV people, build relationships with your buyers. You should stick out among all the rest. Don't just be one of several hundred people that are sitting on my houses. You should be different and touch base with them. And that's what I do. I touch base with my buyers. They know me personally. They've had coffee with me, dinner with me, lunch with me, break bread with them. That's what I do. And I love it because I tell people, unlike most wholesalers, I don't have a list of 100 buyers. I don't have a list of 50 buyers. I literally, on my phone right now, if I get a property in a certain area, okay? If I get a property in a certain area in Maryland, all I have to do, I can send 5 easy. Now, I have more than 5, but I could hit those 5 up, and those 5 I break bread, I have relationships with them. I know what's going on in their life. They know what's going on. 5, easy. And that's what I keep telling people about. This isn't about having a whole list of buyers. You hear it all the time. Oh, I got to have a whole list. No, you don't. All you need is a few that have money to buy and that want to buy. And then start JVing with people who also do the same thing. My partner, when I bring something to my partner, Chris, bam, guess what? He has people same way that he's established relationships over a 20-year period. Now, he's been in the game a lot longer than I have. But again, same thing. I know my partner doesn't have to go down a list of 100 people that are totally strangers. So again, last week when that guy who was a total jerk and that sent me that text message, hey Tanya, I appreciated your level of professionalism throughout. And I basically was saying I would like to work with you again. Oh, wow. Again, this is about relationships. Don't look at your buyers as buyers. Look at them as this is somebody's dad. This is a coach. It's a human being. And that's how I treat them. And I think once you do that, when I looked at my buyer, Charlie, after our first deal, I said, hey, we have to have dinner. Like, that's my thing. I understand you're a busy guy, but we have to have dinner after that deal. Just give me the day and the time. And I said, and you're paying for my dinner. But we have to have dinner. And we did. And it reestablished a good relationship. And now Charlie comes to me with deals. And so that's what this is all about. If you haven't done it, I need you to start networking. People say, oh, but Tanya, you don't understand, this is hard of COVID. I don't even want to hear it because my business partner, we weren't even in COVID, okay? This was last year, pre-COVID, and I met him from another guy on Facebook who, I said, hey, Ahmed, I have this deal, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, let me introduce you to this guy, Chris. And we had not met face-to-face until the day of closing. And then that's when I said, well, Chris, bring your wife. I'm going to bring my man, and we need to sit at the table and break bread. And we've kept in contact ever since. So again, this is about establishing relationships. All right, so everybody take care. God bless. That's my little nugget for people there's a lot of people struggling in wholesaling. And the struggle does not have to be that hard. I think the more people reach out to me, I'm seeing that people are making this a lot harder than what it is. And there's a lot of you that are just still like, the wholesaling thing is just buzzing your head all around. Again, I am starting to do one-on-one coaching. So if you want one-on-one coaching, shoot me an email, MissBossLady, N as in Nancy, O as in Oliver, #1 @gmail.com, and just put interested in one-on-one coaching and with your phone number, and I'll give you a call. So take care. God bless. I hope this video has been of value. And if you can do me a favor, make sure you subscribe and share it. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.